Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I would like to welcome you all for joining today's online class with His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj. A very warm welcome to you all. Thank you all for joining. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Hare. See. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yamayutsavit Tanaiho Pritaya. Pardavrito Paksmabir Aksiniva Remata Udayam Hridayasvariktam Parasuparna Vyaniva Rajri Raktrak. Are the twin brothers who are protected by their brothers doing well? Just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid, they are protected by the sons of Prithu, who snatched back their rightful kingdom from the hands of the enemy Duryodhana. Just as Garuda snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. Indra, the king of heaven, carries a thunderbolt in his hand and is very strong. Yet Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, was able to snatch nectar from his mouth. Similar, Duryodhana was as strong as the king of heaven. And still, the sons of Prithu, the Pandavas, were able to snatch away their kingdom from Duryodhana. Both Garuda and the Parthas are pet devotees of the Lord, and thus it was possible for them to face such strong enemies. Vidura inquire was about the youngest brothers of the Pandavas, namely Nakula and Sahadev. These twin brothers were sons of Madri, the stepmother of the other Pandavas, but although they were stepbrothers because Kunti took charge of them after the departure of Madri with her husband Maharaj Pandu, Nakula and Sahadev were as good as the other three Pandavas, namely Yudhisthira, Bhima, and Arjuna. The five brothers are known in the world as regular brothers. The three elder Pandavas took care of the younger brothers, just as the eyelid takes care of the eyes. Vidura was anxious to know whether, after winning back their own kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana, the other brothers were still living happily under the care of their elder brothers. Vigyan Timidandasya Ginajana Salakaya Chaksunitanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadam Mayam Dadati Swam Dantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivrisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Titanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yeah, these two younger brothers, Nakul and Sahadev, they weren't the sons of Kunti, they were the sons of Madri. When Pandu was killed, or actually Pandu died, Pandu was cursed that if he had sex with a particular woman, I can't remember who it was, he would die. And forgetting about the curse. He did, and he died. And then Kunti, Madri, the wife of her husband, Maharaj Pandu, Pandu died because he was cursed to die if he had sex. And Madri was all alone, but then being a faithful wife, she followed the sati rite and followed her husband after death. And now their two sons, Nakul and Sahadev, had no um, protection. Maharaj Pandu was the father of the Pandavas also, with the wife of Kunti. So he had two wives, Madri and Kunti. So his other wife, Kunti, she took care of those two boys, as it says here. And they grew up under their protection. In general, it's understood that those who are in a position of uh, superiority must take care of others who are in a lesser position. And it says that in the Bhagavatam, it explains that there are 5 categories of living entities who require protection. One is women. Women are very likely to be led away in the wrong way if they're not given proper protection. And they can be subjected to exploitation and even to sinful activities. So it is a duty of the father to take care of his daughter until she is married. It's duty that for the father to find a suitable husband for his daughter that will give her protection throughout her whole life. And then if the husband dies and she is there as an elderly lady, the sons will come forward. If there's one son or many sons, they will take care of the mother. So through the whole life, a woman is meant to be given protection. Nowadays, in today's society, women don't want protection. They want some kind of equality. But equality is there on the spiritual platform. On the material platform, there is differences. You cannot amalgamate equality on the material platform. It just doesn't work. In no way is there equality on a material platform. Some are stronger, some are weaker, some are more intelligent, some are less intelligent, some are richer, some are poorer. So you see, there's always a dichotomy amongst living entities. So therefore, women, in order not to be subjected to exploitation or lost in the material world without any direction, are required to take shelter, or actually are meant to be given shelter by their protectors, either the father, the husband, or the grown-up sons. And then they're happy because then they can fulfill their role as women in the world as the ideal sister, the ideal mother, the ideal wife, or in any capacity that they enter in, they're given protection. Please come in, don't waste time. Come in quickly. And so, if women are not given protection, they're subject to become exploited. And then the second category of persons are children. Children obviously require care and protection. Otherwise, they will act according to their childish natures and do the wrong thing. Even Mother Yasoda was always worried about Krishna. He wasn't given protection. And he would fall down on the ground, or some animal would bite him, or something that he would get hurt. So children always require protection by their parents in different ways until they're able to take responsibility in their own life. It says for children, they should be given care and love as much as possible from from the time that they entered the womb to the time they're about 5 years old. From 6 to 14 years old, the children must work strictly under the guidance of superiors, such as teachers and parents. They're not given much freedom because these years, from the years 6 to 14, is when they formulate all of their um, habits, ideals, goals in life. So they must be given careful, in other words, strict guidance during those years, else they could go off and do all kinds of wrong things. And when they're 15 years old and older, they are treated as friends, no longer as children. Although the parents are still there, still giving guidance, but in a friendly way, not in a what we say, a superior way. Okay, the third group is Brahmins. Brahmins are meant to supply transcendental knowledge and guidance to the rulers within society. That is their duty. They don't take any money for that. Therefore, in order for them to live, they must be given some kind of care, some place to live, some food, and other things. They don't work because for Brahmins to work is against the principles of Brahminical order. A Brahmin is one who is a priest, who gives transcendental knowledge, who guides peoples on how to worship the deity. They must accept charity, but they also must give away in charity. So they are also very much dependent on the other classes, such as the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas. So Brahmins must be taken care of because they represent religious principles within society. And they must have Brahmins in Vedic times had three kinds of occupations. One, they would travel from place to place. They would visit the householders at their homes, and the householders would get advice from the Brahmins. The Brahmins would teach them astrological knowledge. They would give astrological predictions for these householders, because for a householder, astrology is very important for making the right time for important events in one's life, for choosing the right time for having a child, different ceremonies that make up household life. And so the Brahmins would give astrological advice on when and how to perform these ceremonies. They would also give advice about health. The Brahmins knew medicine quite well, and they would also teach people or guide people in proper medical care. And the third thing they would also do is medicine, astrology, and of course, spiritual knowledge. Yeah. These three things the Brahmins do. They were not meant to work, just like in today's society. Such things as medicine and knowledge is a franchise. So people take it up as a business and exploit people because they know these things are needed. And they make big, big profits, especially in the medical fields. They turn medicine into a big business, and people make millions, billions of dollars, and people have to pay a large amount of money just to keep their health together. Sometimes they have to spend their whole life savings on keeping their health together. But that's a Rakshastra society. That's a demoniac society. That's an exploitive society. A society should provide free medical care for everyone, and then the government or the administrators should make sure that the doctors who do the work, which are Brahmins, of course, they get everything they need to live. And so the Brahmins, who are doctors, they were Kavirajas, they would be taken care of by the government, and they would administer their services to people in general, and people wouldn't have to pay. Of course, people would have to pay taxes to the government, and that's there, but they wouldn't have to pay for medical care like that. So that class of people also needs protection. And then the next one is the cows. Cows provide ceremony for religious events. They provide the most nutritious and healthy food within the society, milk. It says that by drinking milk, one can develop finer brain tissues, which helps one to understand easier and more clearly spiritual knowledge. Milk nourishes the finer brain tissues when taken very hot. Shouldn't be taken cold, taken very hot. So cows provide milk, and milk is nourishing. It says if the mother feeds their child for the first 6 months on breast milk, that child will grow up very, very strong and healthy throughout his life. Those first 6 months, they should be taken care of. The mother will take care and feed the child directly like that. Nowadays, they have all these formulas, baby food. They make some kind of thing and they stick it in the kid's mouth, right? Call it baby food. Poor kid is they have powdered meat now. They mix it with water and they're getting powdered meat even before they can even talk. And so now this is all due to the demoniac society who all don't care about people. All they care about is money. And so, and then the kids are also left uncared for by the parents because the parents are working to make money and they're put under the care of some kind of daycare center or some relative like that. So cows provide very nicely all these different milk products, and you can make more than 200 preparations simply from milk alone. Milk contains all of the nutritional value of all of the other foods. It says if you have a regular diet of milk products and grains, then you can maintain nice, healthy. Prabhupada speaks about this. He says milk products and grains are the basis of nutrition and health. Fruits and vegetables are extra, but they're also very helpful. Of course, also. Of course, when it comes to milk, we shouldn't take too much. Too much milk may also cause an increase of milk imbalance of the doshas within the body. One can get sick. So milk has to be taken in moderation. As Prabhupada said, no more than 1 pound, no less than 1/2 pound of milk per day, which includes all milk products. So we take a little bit of milk every day, um, especially for young children, and they grow up very nice, healthy, and happy. Cows also are their milk. We make ghee, we make yogurt, and there's cow dung and cow urine. This is called panchagavya. It's used for religious ceremonies. We worship the deity by pouring these 5 substances on the deity as abhishek. So the cow dung and urine is pure. It is antiseptic. All of antiseptic qualities are found in cow dung and urine. Urine, when it's distilled, it could be taken like that as medicine. And it says Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, she is existing within cow dung. How valuable is the cow? Everything about the cow is pure. Cow is one of the 7 mothers. She provides what we need. She tills the fields with her hooves and makes the fields fertile in order to grow crops, especially grains and vegetables like that. So cow is the ideal animal. The scriptures say if you kill a cow, it's equal to killing two humans. There's a greater sinful activity, greater sinful reaction upon cow killing than it is for killing humans. Can you imagine that? How important a cow is? That's Vedic culture, that's human culture, that's spiritual culture, that's real culture, like that. So cows require protection, they require a nice area to run around where they can go out in the fields, eat nice grass. They shouldn't be kept so much in the barn throughout the year. Most of the time they should be outside, except when in certain cold countries where it gets too cold, then you can provide some nice shelter for the cows where they have heaters and everything, that they can also, you know, function nicely. And cows are very peaceful to be with. If you nowadays they have this thing called cuddling the cow. Kids who are somewhat deficient or psychotic or neurotic or have some kind of social and mental problems, they bring them to the cow. They pay some money and they stay with the cow. When the kid comes back after 1 hour being with the cow, he's changed. He's peaceful. Cows are like medicine. Cows are the ideal living beings on the planet. Krishna's Krishna shows how important the cows are by naming his abode Goloka, planet of the cows. He's called Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the cows. He's called Gopal, one who gives protection to the cows. So yeah, cows are, and of course, we're not excluding bulls, bulls also. Both of these two animals are the gift of God for human society, for happiness, health, and prosperity. And it says all of the demigods reside within the body of a cow. Cow is very, very sacred, you might say. But nowadays, what do they do with the cow when it gets a certain, they get as much milk as they can from the cow when she can't give any canned milk anymore. They send her to the slaughterhouses, and then they killed the cow like that. So this is a Rakshastra society. They kill their own mother. They exploit children and women. And they have no regards for religious principles or religious people. So we live in a world that is very demoniac, to say the least. There is some good there, but not very much. Everything is somewhat overshadowed by the horrors of today's material society, which is getting worse and worse as Kali Yuga progresses. And the last uh, group of people that require protection are called the elderly people. Of course, in Vedic culture, the grown-up children would always take care of their parents until they left the body. That was the duty of the children. The children were grateful that their parents took care of them through their whole life. And now when the parents need some care, the children were there to make sure that they had a very comfortable exit in life, and then also could leave the body nicely and also practice spiritual life in a very direct way when they get old. Nowadays, what do they do to old people? They have old age homes. It's another processing agency for making money. They stuff all these people in these buildings. They put a few of them in each room and they give them a bed. They give them some books to read. They sit there, they play checkers, they play cards, they watch television, and they die in a very pitiable way like that. And the kids don't want to take care of their parents anymore, so they pay big money for these care centers for older people. Nowadays, they even talk about euthanasia. That a person gets old, they can't do anything, they're not really healthy, so better to kill them and get them out of their misery. That's called euthanasia. That's there, and that's being propagated in some areas of the world. Prabhupada talks about that in some African countries. When the grandfather gets old, they take him on the top of a building and they push him off the building and he falls to the ground. And if he doesn't die, they pick him up again and put him on top of the building and throw him off. Yeah, this is done in some African countries. So yeah, how to take care of old people. Old people are like, they're almost like children. They need help, they need guidance, uh, they need actually spiritual opportunities for exiting the world in such a way as they can find the goal of life in the last years of their stay on earth, if they haven't been practicing up until then. So taking care of these 5 women, children, cows, Brahmins, and all if the society, if the caregivers, the protectors do not take care of these 5 categories of people, then there will be reactions both on the society, onto the nation, and onto the people who are responsible to give care. In other words, you get sin by neglect. You do not take care of these 5. And that's in Shastra. That's in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is not some, Purana. It's actually in Srimad Bhagavatam. Taking care of these 5 is essential for a healthy and prosperous society. Okay, so we can see here, so here we see how the Pandavas are taking care of their younger brothers who no longer have father and mother, and they took care of them very nicely. Vidura is inquiring, how is their welfare? It's a duty of those who are in a position to take care of others. It's actually the duty of everyone to take care of each other. That is human life, to see how one can benefit another human being. And of course, the best way to benefit another human being is to bring them to Krishna consciousness, bring them to spiritual life. But still, there's other aspects of care, such as food, clothing, shelter, and proper activities within the society. So, therefore, Prabhupada said our movement is Paropaka. That's one word that describes Paropaka means to do good to others. That is our movement, to find ways to do good to others. And don't worry, Krishna will take care of you. If you do good to others, Krishna will take care of you. If you neglect others, Krishna may also neglect you. That's a fact. Okay, so questions.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, a humble request. Is there any way you can adjust the screen so we can? Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, I'm in.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, dear devotees, we'll proceed for the Q&A. So we can raise your hand, or if you can't do so, you can post your question in the chat window and I can relay that on your behalf. Also, humble request, if you can turn on your cameras, if that's possible, we can make this session more lively and interactive and personal. Thank you, dear devotees.
We have
Uh,
about we have about a half hour plus 35 minutes for questions. So that should give us enough time.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, so we have 2 hands raised. So Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, you go ahead first. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinanath Gauranga Prabhu. Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, in this modern day, we have husbands that are incapable of protecting their wives, wives that want to be the controllers. We have a lack of qualified brahmanas. We have mothers that are unable to naturally feed their babies, either for biological reasons or because they have health conditions or they're taking so many medications that they're advised it's best not to. And the vast majority of us don't even have access to ahimsa milk. So how can we apply the teachings in this verse in modern day life?
Well, Prabhupada gave us the formula, and he gave us the means by how to carry it out, and that is create a society of Krishna conscious people within the society where we have everything within our society. We have education, we have medical care, we have growing our own food, we have taking care of women, taking care of children, doing everything that is there in the. In other words, Prabhupada wanted to recreate the Vedic culture in today's modern society. We can only do it within our society. And if we do it within our society, then that will be an example for others. Of course, people are already following us in certain areas of activities already, but we have to do it as a society. Well, everything that I spoke about can be done by, if you read Prabhupada's books, his directions, his guidance, his talks, his discussions. He talks about these things a lot. Talks about Varnashram, practically every class he gave, the Daivi Varnashram, spiritual Varnashram, education, engagement, farm communities, growing your own food, taking care of children, how to take care of children, everything. Everything is there. Nowadays, they have this thing called veganism. They think milk is not healthy, or for whatever reason, they don't drink milk. But milk is not healthy if you take it from cows that are being exploited. If the cow knows it's going to be killed, which she does, she lives in fear. And when they take the milk from that cow, the cow secretes a hormone into that milk, which is unhealthy for human beings. It's the cow's way of, she's fearful, and that hormone is not healthy for people. Then they take milk and they homogenize it. That's another form of destroying the quality of milk. So, we live in a society that's upside down. It's not even slightly slanted. It is completely upside down. We don't know how to live. We don't even know how to live materially, what to speak of living, of engaging in spiritual activities. We don't even know what proper material life is. We buy these apartments that are so small, they stuff you in there, and they have these big buildings that are about 75 floors high, and you get your little box in there, and you think you can look out the window and you can see all the fog that's come by the pollution from the traffic that's around you. So, I mean, we just take a look at our society. It's hellish. It's just hell. There's nothing healthy about it. There's nothing, what we say, aesthetic about it. It's all about, hey, let's make money. Doesn't matter how you do it. Let's make money, have material things, and enjoy our senses, and then die a miserable death. Take a look. I mean, it's all over. You're in London. You're in the best part of London, South London. It's a lot. I mean, you might say it's not as bad as the rest of London. South London is a little bit less miserable than the rest of London. But London is hell. It's just hell. You go to the US, the cities are like that. You can't even walk the streets at night. People don't walk the streets at night, especially women. When it gets dark, you don't find people out. Prabhupada said in Vedic culture, people could go out anytime in the middle of the night and walk around. They were free. There wouldn't be any fear. There wouldn't be any reason to be fearful. But now, what do we live? We live in hell. Our life is just counteracting the miseries. That's all we do in this Western society, counteracting miseries. You live in these apartments with no air, so you have to get a mistifier, a purifier, or what is a humidifier, this fire, that fire, just so you can breathe, especially in the wintertime when you can't go out so much. Just look at the way we live. It's not human culture. It's a Rakshasa culture. Just for the benefit of a small percentage of the population who are exploiting everyone through economic means, everyone is suffering. And then the leaders of the nations can't get along with other nations, and there's always chances of war. Now China's going to attack Taiwan. That's going to be another big one. China's ready to attack Taiwan and bring Taiwan back into China. And Russia's supporting China. America's got its ships in the area trying to prevent China. This whole world's crazy, you know. It's completely nuts. You don't have to be, very introspective or observant to see it. How we live is just contrary to human culture. What speak of spiritual culture. So that's why Prabhupada gave us the formula. He said this Western society will continue to go down, down, down. He said, build these farms, self-sufficient, Daivi Vanashram, grow your own food, make your own cloth, build your own houses, learn medicine, school your own children. Create a microcosm within this macrocosm, which will later become the macrocosm. It can be done. So Prabhupada gave us the formula. It's being done. One very powerful sannyasi in our movement just acquired a large piece of land, and he's going to do Varnashram Dharma on that land with cow protection. Everything I mentioned, he's going to do. He got a big piece of land somewhere in the middle of Tennessee. I forgot where it is. So yeah, it's happening. But those of us who are living in these big cities, we think we're okay. Hey, I can just push a button and get a pizza.
Guru Maharaj, what is your advice? Because considering that we are living in this upside down world and devotees are struggling so hard, on the one hand, just trying to maintain their families, on the other hand, just trying to keep up with their sadhana and seva and make spiritual progress, and they're feeling exhausted with it all and suffocated by it all. How can they begin to practice?
You got a lot of nice devotees in London. Get together, get a piece of land, start something. There's material life doesn't guarantee you anything except taxes and death. That's the only two things it guarantees you. That's about it. It's like those who live in London. You pay 45% of your income to the government before you even see your check. If you make 80 £1,000 a year, you give something like 35,000 to the government. Yeah. And if you make over 100,000 pounds a year, you pay 50%. Prabhupada said the governments in Kali Yuga will continue to tax you till you can't tolerate it anymore. More and more. It's in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, I mean, the solution has been given by Srila Prabhupada. We have to become self-sufficient. We can stay as long as we can, hang on to our particular situation, but then it's a struggle. And anything could happen at any time. The electricity goes out, what are you going to do? The gas goes out, what are you going to do? If the water goes out, what are you going to do? If you have cows, you can produce your own gas, methane gas. You can heat homes with methane gas. You can cook with methane gas. You can cook with cow dung. You can even use cow dung and cow urine to use as conductors for operating electrical apparatus. I saw that. I saw this personally. There was a clock, and it had two leads coming off a clock, and there was two pots, one with cow dung and urine, and the other one with cow dung and urine. The two leads were in the pots, and the clock was running. Simply on cow dung and urine, it was making the clock work. I saw it. I mean, it's not something I heard about. I saw it. Devotees in Belgaum, and they have many, many nice projects where they have 40, 50, 60 different items that they make from cow products. Soaps, lotions, creams, hair, hair, hair ointments for ladies, and all kinds, cow lipstick, cow everything. I've been using cow soap for the last 20 years and I don't have any skin problems. Yeah, I use cow soap. It also lathers up too, so it's not latherless. And I've been using it for the last 20 years. You can't give me any other kind of soap. I don't care how much perfume is in it, or how many natural oils they put in it. Yeah, so Krishna gave us a way to live. He not just put us on this world to struggle. He taught us how to live. But if we don't follow, then we'll be subjected to whatever the society dictates. Yeah, if the government fails, your money is it's just paper. Just stick it in your pillow and sleep on it and think about how rich you used to be. It's only paper. Paper has no value. The government says it's worth something, therefore it has value as long as the government. But then again, what is real wealth? If you have land, that's equity. If you have animals, that's equity, especially cows. And if you have precious metals, that's equity. Gold, silver, emeralds, rubies, diamonds. These things are there. They're produced by nature also. We get paper. Mr. Modi, back in 2016, 17, he pulled back some of the denominations, the financial denominations. And what happened? If you couldn't prove that you earned this money, then you would lose it. So he did that to stop black marketing. People were black marketing the big bills in India. And I saw it. They were burning money in the streets. They were piling up all of these bills and burning it. And then 3 years ago, he did it again. He pulled back another denomination. So The government can, at any time could fold or to say, well, your money's no good anymore. Now you have to have the digital money, and then you go to work, and then they give you some credit. And if they want to take the credit away from you, they have the control. They can zero out your bank account without even you getting your permission. That's this cryptocurrency they're coming up with, so they can control your whole bank accounts now. Hey, just wake up. It's if we want to continue to gamble and live like this society is giving us, and devote, and people are not, as you said, I mean, your question was good. Devotees are not healthy because they're not living the proper lifestyle. We eat food that is full of chemicals, pesticides. There's even statements on certain foods that don't eat it because it's bad for you. We don't hear about these things because the news doesn't is not allowed to put this stuff out. But if you do a little digging, a little bit outside of the regular news, you find so much what's going on, both good and not good. Watching the news is like watching a fictional movie. That's all it is. They tell you whatever they want to tell you. I have a statement by a newscaster who was working for the New York Times for 50 years. And then he retired. And then he gave his retirement speech to his colleagues. And in that speech, he said, we're all prostitutes. We all know that. You can't even write what you want to write. Whatever you write, if it's not cleared by the authorities, then it doesn't go into print. And they streamline the news, make you hear what they want you to hear. That's fortunately we have other news sources nowadays, but still the mainstream is like that.
Guru Maharaj, it's the same with anyone that works in government. They're not allowed to tell the public the truth about what's happening. They're forced to just toe the party line and say what they're allowed to say.
Yeah. I have so many documentations coming from different sources about how the government is hiding so many things from the people. It's things that are beneficial, things that you can cure your health with simply by changing your diet into a particular type of diet. Food is medicine, but nowadays they sell you medicine in the form of something that they create. If you eat properly, get enough exercise and fresh air, you can maintain good health. These are the three principles of good health: fresh air, exercise, and proper food. Good food, not polluted food. Prabhupada said, food grown on our own farms, 100% more nutritious than the stuff you buy in the shops. That's Prabhupada's statement. I've seen it. I've been on farms, some of our farms. We taste some of those things that we grow. You can feel the nutrition entering your body as you eat it because they're so naturally grown, proper soil, done in a devotional way. Nowadays, they put food on the stores after 1 or 2 days. If it doesn't sell, they throw it. Yeah,
Guru Maharaj, people are led to believe that the food they're buying in supermarkets is safe because of the ingredients list. But what they don't know is that a lot of the food, even with the ingredients list, is sourced from unauthorized, unknown suppliers, unregulated suppliers. So they don't actually know what's even in the food that they're selling.
Yeah, right. And they make, when they sometimes they describe what's in there, they use all of these technical terms and you don't know what the heck it is. You can't understand it anyway. Or they make it, put it in such small print you can't read it. Even if you put a magnifying glass, you still can't read it. So why do they put it in such small print? Because they don't really want you to read it. We're being cheated at every moment by this Western society because it's only about profit. That's all. That's the main. And Prabhupada said that too. Said Western civilization is based on a false premise, money. He says money is not the foundation for human culture. Money has value, but money is not something that will give you what you need to live nicely. That comes from God. That comes from nature. Okay, I don't want to berate anybody too much here. I could go on for another 5 hours describing what I know about the horrors of Western society, but I don't think you want to hear about that. You might decide just slope down in your chair and then turn off the video. So well, I'm not here to cause any fear. I'm just trying to get the devotees to wake up to the fact that we need to change our lifestyles if we're going to survive as a society. We have to get away from the dependence on materialistic society.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes.
Prashid Chaitanya Prabhu, you have a question. You can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances in your lotus feet, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, as you told, six need to be protected: women, children, Brahmins, cows, and elderly people. And undoubtedly, everyone should be take care of each other and should love to each other. And especially if, as you told, if we want to actually love to others, so we should take them into Krishna consciousness. So Guru Maharaj, in Ujjain ISKCONs, there are so many activities are going on, like Sankirtan, book distribution, Sunday law feast, calling activity, children schools. So I want to know some more ideas so that preaching and cultivation activation can be preaching and cultivation should be more effective, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, well, you got right on site there. You have a gosha of 50 cows or more. You have another site that is away from there, which has more cows. There are many cows under the care of the Ujjain devotees, and now the leaders are getting another plot of land to help develop self-sufficiency. So Ujjain has got a vision, and they're moving forward based on the instructions given by Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj and what Prabhupada also said like that. If you want to be prosperous in society, take care of cows. If you take care of cows, you'll always be in a good position to get everything you need to live nicely, as long as you follow the basic principles of life, of course. When the British came, Bhakti True Maharaj made this video, I have it. When the British came to India, they saw how prosperous India was. And but they couldn't understand where was their prosperity. So they did a little investigation, information searching, and the conclusion was because they took care of cows. So then they understood that was the success of India, their cow taking care of cows. So then they started a whole policy of killing cows. Lord Clive. What a rascal that guy was. He instituted, beginning slaughterhouses with cows just to break India so the British could rule India. That's a fact. I can, if you want, I could show you the video. Yeah, yeah. So these British went around the world trying to colonize all of the other countries by breaking their cultures and setting up this bourgeoisie kind of culture in different places. And now, because they committed so many offenses, now they're relegated to this little island that's about to sink into the ocean. So you better get your, bathing trunks and your rowboat out because you might find yourself sinking in this little island. And India, all the Indians are taking over in London anyway. So anyway, it's just like London took over, the British took over India, so India's coming back and taking over London. But I hope they follow Dharma instead of Adharma. That's yeah. So yeah. Cows are, if you take care of cows and you give them exactly what they need to live happily, you'll always be in a good position to fulfill all of your desires for happiness and prosperity and practice spiritual life. Cows are the greatest gift to mankind for their benefit. But we don't have that understanding, therefore we misuse, abuse, and eventually even kill cows. That's why there's wars. That's in the Shastras. That was even said by one what was it? What was his name? George Bernard Shaw. He wrote a poem. And he's a philanthropist, George Bernard Shaw. He wrote a poem, and he speaks about how we gorge ourselves on dead animals, and what is the result? War. He wrote that in a poem. You could read it. Poem by George Bernard Shaw. Even he could see that killing cows was directly related to war. And it is.
And even Guru Maharaj, you already told cows are the foundation of our Vedic culture.
Everything. Spiritual culture too. But now we have cars instead of cows. You can tune up your car and it doesn't complain to you except when it breaks down, of course.
Mhm.
Taking care of cows is not easy. It requires a group of people and land, proper land, and a know-how how to take care of them. It requires some education, some understanding. And it also requires people who can work with animals. But cows are God's gift to human society. I mean, why did Krishna name his planet Goloka? Planet of the
True.
cows. It's the highest place in the spiritual world. It's named, called the planet of the cows. He didn't say Vrindavan Loka. He said, no. Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all. He is a cowherd boy. Think about that. People think that's some anthropomorphism or some idea, but actually it's not. The source of existence is Vrindavan, Krishna in Vrindavan, and Krishna in Vrindavan is a cowherd boy. That is reality. It's something that's not something that is adopted just to fantasize spirituality. No, it's actually a reality. And Krishna, if you study his life, he spent most of the day with the cows. And you read Astakali Lila, and the eight sections of the day when Krishna performs different activities. And most of the day he's with the cows. From the time he leaves after breakfast, the time he comes home in the evening, he spends a little bit of time with Radharani and the gopis during the midday, but most of the time he's with the cows and the cowherd boys. That's Krishna. So yeah, if we think the cow is just another animal, then we are not understanding. You go to Govardhan Echo Village, you see how they really take care of the cows so nicely. So nicely.
Where, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah. Govardhan Echo Village is
Which place?
it's
Yes.
north of Bombay too, about 2 hours by car north of Bombay. The cows are so big, healthy, and very, very peaceful. You can approach any cow. They're so peaceful. When you look at them, you can see they're so happy. They give really good, they have over 100 cows also there. Radhanath Swami just created this little section as part of the cow area for calves. So calves can have their own place. Always thinking how to take care of the cows, how to improve the quality of cow care. Like that. But all the cows have different names too. Each cow is a person. Each cow has a different personality. Just like each of us have different personalities, cows are also like that. I grew up on New Vrindavan. We had cows there. We always had cow milk every night. And, of course, unfortunately, we made the mistake of getting too many cows. At one point, we had 550 cows. And then we couldn't take care of them properly. So we resorted to milking machines. And cows don't really like milking machines so much. We were selling milk to the local dairies and making money from that. But then it became too much. And then we had to start decreasing the herd. And then where do you send the cows? Then that was a problem. Then we had too many. So, and then sending the cows out you're not sure what's going to happen to these cows once they leave. So it was a problem. Yeah, we had too many. I was there. I mean, I saw it. Okay, so any other questions? We have Sarada. She has a question. Sorry to make you wait so long.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your class, and please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question was about women, and in this day and age, it might be difficult for a woman to access protection through the three ways that you'd mentioned, through fathers, husband, and sons. So if a woman can't access protection these ways, how can she access protection in this age of Kali?
Well, we give protection to ladies in their elderly age by recommending they come to one of our communities and then live within the community and being taken care of by the community. And then they can just finish their life out worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they're younger, then because society likes to break the families, a lot of times the parents either neglect their responsibility towards the girls in the family, or the girls find reasons to break from the family and try to create their own lifestyle. But they're generally not very happy. Prabhupada even said that. He saw that the women in Western countries weren't so happy. There's this false sense of happiness that I'm independent, I can do whatever I want. But if a woman has a nice husband, she's happy, qualified husband, good children, and of course, spiritual life. It's everything there. So our society is trying to, bring women in so they can be engaged in devotional service, and then it's the responsibility of the temple leaders to make sure that the women get everything they need if they're doing services for the community, for the temple. But women, they want equal rights with men, so they're getting equal exploitation also. That's the problem. They want to break from any kind of dependency and at the same time take care of themselves. And then they find themselves struggling to do that. Women in the workplace, and women have to go to work just to get money, and then they're exploited in the workplace. They're underpaid. And at the same time, there's always men there. And when you put men and women together, there's always that wrong consciousness coming from the men, not necessarily from the women, but from the men. Even if there's nothing happening, still their minds are, men are always thinking about sex life anyway, or money, either one or the two. Because men are always thinking about either how to enjoy or how to get more money so I can enjoy. And women are trying to protect themselves and get something so they can find some livelihood. So, as a spiritual master, I try to give some guidance to women and also help them do whatever they need to do in order to practice Krishna consciousness. And we also try to provide opportunities where they can get married to a qualified devotee also. But that's part of our society. That's part of the devotee care society, making sure women have the opportunity to meet someone who they might, choose as their marital partner, like that. I was just with a very senior lady. Her name is Devaki. She's written so many books. One about preparing for marriage is one. Another was how to live within marriage. And the last one is, what is it? It's called Vanaprastha, how to retire from that situation towards the end of. So yeah, read Devaki's books. They're really good. 3 books centered around married life, before, during, and towards the later part of married life.
Thank you, thank you. I can think of Narada Muni's mother. she was a widow and she went and served the Narada Muni's mother.
Yeah.
She was a widow and she went and served the rishis until
Right.
she passed.
Yeah. So she had the opportunity to serve great souls, and therefore, when she passed, obviously, she got a very good destination in her next life. Even Narada Muni benefited simply by taking the remnants of these great souls. Later on, he became Narada Muni because of simply taking their remnants.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sri Devi, you're on.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. I'm not sure whether this will hold up. I'll try, but if not, I'll turn off the camera. My internet is weak. As you were speaking about our present lifestyle, I couldn't help but think about how much mental health problems are increasing the more and more we are going higher and higher in the sky in our little matchboxes. People who live in skyscrapers are so far removed from the touch of Mother Earth, what to speak of Mother Cow, that it is becoming more and more difficult to fend off these illnesses such as depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, aggression. All these things are on the increase, and this is coming from our lifestyle, which is becoming more and more demoniac. So I was thinking to myself that we call this progress, skyscraper buildings, but actually they are death traps, because recently a fire took place. I don't know which country, was it Thailand, some place where so many people were trapped because they were in a high rise and they had no way to get out when the fire took place.
Yeah, there's a death trap. Stack them as high as they can. The higher, the better. In Mumbai, I was looking at one building in the middle of Mumbai. It was 95 floors high. And then I was talking to someone, and the person was telling me they wanted to make it 108 floors, but they couldn't do it because of the structural dangers of making it that high. So they had to stop at 95. Just because you're high up in the air doesn't mean you're better off. Unless you're a bird. If you're a bird, then are you then all right. But if you're a human, then you're gonna have to practice how to fly. And Prabhupada also said that humans can fly also, but they'd have to practice how to do that. You also have the propensity to fly. Did you know that? You can fly, but it's going to take a while before you learn. I don't know if there's too many schools that teach humans to fly, but it's possible. But I don't recommend wasting your time in that way. Better to fly to Krishna with bhakti. So yeah, you're in the middle of Mumbai right now. You go to certain areas in Mumbai, those buildings are so high, so high. And there's a little world within there. They have everything they need. They have swimming pools, they have gyms, they have recreation rooms, they have, it's like a little world within the world. But it doesn't mean and I was there. I was in Bangalore. I was in one of these places. It was only it only had 16 floors. It was a small one. And I went down to one floor, which was the basis where everybody walks around, and you're kind of like outside, but you're not completely down on the ground yet. So and I saw the people there, they look miserable. And they have a guard sitting there and he's just falling asleep. That's all he does, sit there and just falls asleep, even in the middle of the day. We create, I mean, back to nature. We're going to be forced to go back. It'll happen because this this Western society may go on for a while yet. We don't know how long, but it's gradually crumbling. It's cracks in many of the basic principles of life are becoming there. And the biggest problem is food. That's going to be the biggest problem. Getting healthy, nutritious food. Okay, so
Hare
I think
Krishna. Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We have a question on chat, Guru Maharaj, by Parijata Mataji. Is it okay to take one question?
yeah, one more. I have in about another hour and 10 minutes, I have another class. You know that one. It's
Yes,
coming
yeah.
from Pakistan.
I'll quickly ask this question, Guru Maharaj. It's by Parijata Mataji. She is asking, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Your Holiness. Sri Vidura asked about the well-being of the younger brothers after victory. How important is aftercare in spiritual leadership and community? What is the devotee's responsibility toward those who are spiritually or emotionally vulnerable?
How much is how
What is
important is
the
what kind of care?
aftercare in spiritual leadership and community?
Aftercare?
Yeah, means I
What is
think
after?
I think it's the devotees devotee care itself, Guru Maharaj. I am understanding in that way.
Aftercare means, I guess, people when they get older. I don't know what aftercare means. Care means throughout the whole life. When
Yes,
people
she's
get
saying
older,
yes.
yes, when people get older, obviously they need support. So just like in Govardhan Echo Village, they just opened a building where the parents of the devotees who serve there can get their own apartments. They can now be near their family members and they can finish their life out in a spiritual community. So they opened this beautiful, it's a very spacious building. It's not one of these little, pigeonhole boxes, where they're trying to squeeze them in. Yeah, so aftercare is also as essential as any other care. It reveals that we should be always conscious of making sure that those around us, either family members, friends, or devotees in general, if we're in that position, to make sure that they get some care. Make sure that they are getting what they need to practice Krishna consciousness, getting what they need to live, to maintain their body nicely. Yeah. So devotee care is a feature of the GBC now. How much it's developed, I'm not sure. I'm not part of that system, but it's going on. If you go to Chaupati, under there, they have a whole system of devotee care that's been going on for the last 25 years. That's really developed. You can learn a lot from them, from their program.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hope yes.
Leaders should be thinking how to take care of the devotees. And the devotees should be thinking, how can I serve more and more? How can I continue to be? How can I serve? Leaders think, how can we take care? So Prabhupada said, the leaders should be very affectionate towards those they're leading, and those who are being led, they should be very obedient to the leaders. If you have that combination, affection one side, obedience the other side, and you have a nice community. You have a workable community, you have an effective community. That's what community is all about. It's not about expanding, it's about taking care of each other within the community. We live in this material world. It's not an easy place to live in, therefore care is necessary.
Yes, Gurmaj.
Yeah. And there's programs. Yeah. Okay, so I have to depart because you have to get ready for my next class, which is coming up in about an hour and 5 minutes. So those of you who have the link, I think.
Yes,
Srimati-
Gurmaj. I posted it in the group and I'll repost it again now. Yeah, we'll all join that class.
Speaking about 6 verses from Sri Upanishads. So that's the topic. For those who want to hear about from verses 9 to verse 14 of Sri Upanishads, you can read them ahead of time like that.
Yes, Gurmaj. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful discussion. Yeah, thank you so much, dear devotees. We'll end the call here. Please join the other class too. I'm sharing the group link in the group. Please note, and it's like 8 o'clock Eastern time. Sorry, 8 p.m. IST, like Indian Standard Time, and 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and 2:30 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Guru Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.